Good evening. Welcome to Injustice Investigations. I'm your host, Al Scott. As always, thank you all for joining tonight's show. Neil, good evening to you. Miss Watts, good evening to you. Tammy, always 100, never fake. Good evening to you. Love you big time. Thank you for your genuine support. Miss Miller, welcome, welcome. Consuela Johnson, good evening to you. Miss Hines, good evening to you also. I love you guys big time, and we appreciate you all supporting this show. So Miss Miller is coming to us by way of South Carolina. I humbly bow to you. Thank you so much. Okay, I guess I have to open up with an apology. My brother's on tonight, Mr. Tim. Love you big time, brother. Appreciate you. I have to offer an apology because we were scheduled to do all day today on the Breonna Taylor case. Something came up, we could do it, but we have it planned for tomorrow. I think we may do one in the AM, but unless death comes tomorrow, I promise you we will off and on throughout today, tomorrow, we'll be discussing the Breonna Taylor's case. Robin Smith, good evening to you. Bates, good evening to you as well. Miss Rich is here. Love you big time. And I think this Indiana, good evening to you. And someone from, looks like it's Ohio. Okay. Before we get started, there is someone who is having a birthday today, and she is a faithful watcher. I know she's on tonight. I don't know what name she's using on YouTube, but happy birthday, Tammy Baker. We love you big time. And if you hadn't enjoyed yourself yet, by the time this show is over, I hope you have enjoyed yourself. In this country, we have come to a point to where we applaud the wrong and we give a thumbs down to what's right. Decades ago, a lot of white people would try to be sneaky with the things that they was doing to us. In other words, they were smiling in your face. But when they left, it was a different story. But now in 2020, racism, hatred, racial profiling, police brutality against blacks is on the rise. And no, it's not that we're seeing more of it because of social media. Racism in this country is on the rise. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. When you have a jackass, a racist, diabolical jackass in the White House that incites riots, that tells Congress and the American people what he will and will not do. And he can do that because, in his words, he is law and order in the United States. I don't know what book this sapsucker is reading, but Donald Duck is not law and order. When I heard the disturbing news yesterday, but I said this months ago, if he doesn't win, and he won't, because he didn't win the first election, he did. Trump was not elected, Trump was selected. Big difference. You're going to have to get Secret Service, the CIA, the military, the FBI, Washington Police Department to drag this low-down, dirty sapsucker out the White House because he don't like to be defeated. And yesterday, for about an hour, I sat in awe when that low-down, trifling, insignificant, racist bastard said, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving the White House. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. I'm running for office. And the vote said, well, Mr. Scott, sorry, you won the first time, but this time you didn't. Okay. strict terminology, charge it to the game. Go on about your business. Prior to the election, I'm throwing out subliminal messages to get you to support me on the slate if you don't already. The only way I don't win is they cheat. No, bitch. No, bitch. No. The only way you don't win is because this time it's done right. You are not qualified for the seat that you sit in. And he has the audacity to make a video saying Joe Biden is not qualified to be the president of the United States. Bitch, please, you can't be serious. This motherfucker dumber than a box of goddamn rocks and can't spell .com. If he cannot beat you on the issues, and he cannot, the only thing this little girl knows to do is character assassination. I can't wait for the debate. I cannot wait for Joe Biden to eat him up. Okay, I'm going to stop it for a minute, and we're going to open up the line shortly, but let me finish with this, please. If you got a debate, one-on-one, Joe Biden and Donald Duck, jackass Trump, there's not an issue in this country, and heaven backing me up, there's not an issue in this country that Donald Duck can beat Joe Biden. We're bringing him on shortly, ma'am. Just hold tight. He's coming on. He's coming on. He's here. He's coming on. So this debate, I know it's going to be comical because Joe Biden is going to focus on the issues within this country. Joe Biden is going to focus on the over 200,000 people in the United States that have died from the coronavirus. And Donald Duck's signature needs to be on every death certificate because he knew in advance. But he said he didn't. But in a book that's coming out, said, oh, yeah, it's bad. It's terrible. But I'm not going to tell them that because I don't want the American people to panic. It had nothing to do with the American people panicking. He just didn't want to tell the truth. He did because he don't give a damn. This is the only president since I've been living that goes against the United States Constitution. The thought of this idiot having nuclear codes in the palm of his hand should disturb all of us. He's a fool with a problem. He's a joke, something straight out of the comic book. Now, Breonna Taylor, I need to know. The people need to know what was presented to the grand jury that caused the grand jury not to see no wrong in either police officer in the death of Breonna Taylor. I need to see it. The public needs to see it. Because if the report was written up right, that means legally, then there's no way on God's earth that they could have said nobody killed Breonna Taylor unfairly, so to say. It was justifiable homicide when she was not the intended target. She was in her home sleeping, and they pumped 8 bullets in her. So we have nobody today charged with her death. The powers that be are running things. And as long as we keep letting them do it, they're going to do it. That was an insult. And it was embarrassing for the United States of America. When the people that we have elected or given a job to uphold the law, when they don't. They don't. So you give them $12 million. That's all they're going to get. Breonna, as far as I'm concerned, she shouldn't have been at home that night, and she wouldn't be dead. That's the way they look at it. Tonight, I have a brother. I'm about to bring him on. I saw him about 2 weeks ago. I saw the brother, and he was on KSLA News 12, and I was writing down his name and making a mental note that I got to find him because I wanted to bring him on the show. Okay, Cindy, I think I just said that, maybe I didn't. She says, could it be because the family sold out for $12 million? Listen, this might sound ugly. But yesterday, I said the family shouldn't have taken the $12 million. And I do see a problem with that. But we have to remember, we don't know their financial situations. I don't know what was told to them for them to say, okay. But probably in their mind, they're thinking, okay, we'll take the money, but we also know that they're going to jail because our child is dead. That sounds stupid, don't it? No, it's not stupid. That's the American way. We're trusting in the justice system to do the right thing. And the justice system didn't do it and don't give a damn about it. It's just as simple as that. Okay, back to Mr. Terrance Winn. I wrote down his information, his name, and I lost it. Couldn't find it for a few days. And I went downtown a couple of weeks ago to cover the press conference of the Attorney General speaking about violent crime within the city of Shreveport. And Councilwoman Tabitha Taylor introduced me to the brother. I'm like, oh my God, look how God did that. So we exchanged numbers. He was 16 years old when he pulled the trigger. He is from Shreveport, Louisiana. He is from the Cooper Road, MLK. When he pulled that trigger at 16, it interrupted his life as a child. And it sent him to the Louisiana State Penitentiary with a life sentence. Tonight, it is my pleasure to introduce to you all a brother who came out of prison, as my brother Timmy just called and said, with both feet on the ground. Simply put, while he was in prison, he was working to get out of prison and do the right thing. And he came out earlier this year. He is the author of a book that comes out tomorrow. It is entitled In No Sense. And I'm going to let him begin to tell you all about that. But before we go there, Terrance Winn, I humbly bow to you, brother. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come on to the show tonight.
Thank you for the invitation.
You are welcome, brother. First of all, I salute you. I salute you, brother. I do, because I've been down. I've been in prison. I know what it's like. Some of our viewers here may not have been, but you and I know what it's like to be in prison. And I'd rather be free living in a shotgun house on a damn mattress than locked up in prison with $1 million bank account to make commissary. It's nothing like your freedom. And I didn't go to Angola, to God be the glory, but I went to David Wade, and as you said the other day, hell, it's just like Angola, you know. So if you would, brother, give us a little information about yourself and where you're from, and how was your childhood before it was interrupted?
I was a 16-year-old that was traveling out there, and I went to prison and did 30 years. I was released July 1st of this year. My childhood prior to incarceration was, I think, typical of a person from the ghetto. I mean, I had a great family, though. I had a really, really great family. Anybody from Cooper Road know the Winn family. My mother, Dorothy, her sister, Lily, Letty, and Berta, my Uncle Andrew. I mean, had a really great upbringing, but you know, I chose to do things differently with my life. So I went to the street, not because, you know, like most people go because they have to go. I went because I wanted to go. Like I said, I had a really good family. I was an honest student. I was a good athlete. I traded it all in for colors, and I represented the color, like people represent the flag,
Mm-hmm.
the United States of America. So I was in the streets, and I represented this color, and eventually it led to me going to prison. And I did 30 years. 30 years in prison is a hard existence. Everything in prison is hard. The beds, the toilet, the hearts of men, the existence. And I was able to fight the institutionalization of prison by educating myself, by surrounding myself with brothers that could run the world. That brought, so I was around brothers like Curtis Davis, whom has been released from prison like 4 years ago, whom has a real powerful position right now, being a real brainiac. He come from the streets also. And I ran with this brother before I went to prison.
Okay.
Come around brothers like Anthony Bolt, guys that can come back to Shreveport right now and run Shreveport, make Shreveport a better place. And these are guys that I ran with in society. And it's a sad thing that we meet up in prison from the streets. The streets, it's two routes from the streets. You're on the streets. It's like a fork in the road.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to prison or you can go to the graveyard. And fortunately, which is unfortunate, yet fortunately, we went to prison and we lived to come back to speak of these harsh existences. We are able to speak about institutionalized racism. We're able to speak about all the hardships and all the things that people don't just think about on a day-to-day living, because we live in life freely.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the small equality that we have, the small things that we was able to accomplish through civil rights struggle.
Okay.
And so we kind of like overlook the real hidden racism within our system, especially within our city.
Mm-hmm.
Because we come from a 68% Black culture in Shreveport. So our eyes be blinded to the racism that goes on. Yet it's here, it's prevalent. It's for those that's educated enough to see that when Black people that's in position, they just Black people in position. You got people behind the scenes that's really pulling them strings, But the Black people here that's in position, they can really use their position to make a difference within our city. Yeah, they're not. Some aren't, some aren't. Yet the bigger picture is 3-4 Black people are supposed to have way more going on than we have. And it's because of the powers that be that we don't have it going on. We're supposed to have a lot of more infrastructure in each community where the crimes are high, so that the guys can see alternatives. The system will stand up and tell you every day, like we was there to see that the system told us, all right, we're finna hook up with the feds. And what we're gonna do is, we're gonna make things harsher on you Black brothers. We're not trying to stop y'all from doing what y'all doing. Do what you do. We know you criminals, we know you got guns. All that's racist. All those are racist terms that we don't even we don't bring to mind because it's just so normal. We've been systematically beat down by this being said about us, this portrayal of us over and over and over again. Yet those are racist terms to say that, oh, y'all are criminals. The sheriff got on the TV and said, when you arrest them, I challenge the system, I challenge the media to look in their background.
Come on. Come on with it. Come on.
Demonized. We always have to be demonized. So that means when I'm killed by the police, I'm telling y'all to look at his background. My background is not a reason for you to commit a crime against me. My background isn't a reason why I do what I do to live in these streets. Give me a job. Shreveport has lost more jobs in the last 30 years than any city in America. Every big job that we had is leaving. Why? Because our powers that be don't know how to keep it here. They don't know how to bring quality to life. So we have a violent problem. Our problem is no more violent than any other big city. Yet we got a problem. You know, there's no doubt. It's sad how we kill each other. Very sad, you know. And you know, it's a fine line for me to toe because I went to prison for murder. Yet in prison I learned. And my thing is now to teach people, man, it's a better way. You know, gangsters run our system. That's when you're a gangster. The pen is actually mightier than the sword. Because with my pen, I can take your life away. Just like with your weapon, you can take another person's life away. But with my pen, I can make you suffer every day when I took your life away. When you use your weapon, you just making a man, he died. Everything dies for him. It's end of existence. So he doesn't suffer no longer. But with that pen, I can send you to the pen and you will suffer every day until you die. Because in Louisiana, second-degree murder says that you're going to be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, suspension of sentence, or probation. So who's more gangster in this situation? The man with that pen. But we kind of like see it as being guys with these guns. I mean, we live in these ghettos on a smaller scale than our system. You know, we got problems. We got poverty. We got poverty problems. And poverty problems make us turn to the next man and just see him as prey. That's what poverty do to you. And they understand this because they study us like they study animals. And through animal studies, they look at us. So they see the black man as this mice that they have been studying for years and years and years. They have never got away from studying the mice. So anytime you see studies, you can always see that mice running around in those cages because they study them and as they study the black man because they feel like we are just like him. That's why they have no problem with slaughtering us when it's time to slaughter us. And they get away with it.
Exactly.
I went to prison at the age of 16. I had eyewitnesses account. They had several people testify that I shot that night. Other people shot that night also. But they had eyewitnesses account that said that I shot these two people. And one of these people succumbed to the gunshots and he perished. The other guy, he survived. So I went to prison. I was sentenced to life.
Okay. Let me. There's someone. Well, you can't see the comments, but Cindy is saying that she's very, very proud of you, and the phone lines are now open if you want to call and speak with Brother Wayne. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I went to prison on, like I was saying, I went to prison on eyewitnesses account. I just saw several videotapes of police officers killing African Americans, and none of them was convicted. Alton Sterling get killed, no convictions. I saw Orlando Castile get killed, no convictions, because you know a white man killing a black man in America, especially when you're in a uniform, he places you above the law, so to speak. So,
exactly. Okay. Good evening, caller. You live on air. What's your name and what state are you calling from tonight? Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. So my thing is, you know, I went to prison and I further educated myself because before prison, you know, I was going to school. Like I say, I was 16 years old. I don't want anyone to forget that. I want everybody to understand that I was a 16-year-old student at Green Oaks High School on the night of this here, on the night that I committed this crime. That I was, you know, I was accused of committing this crime. So in minutes, my life was taken from being a kid to being looked at as an adult. And I was taken from the juvenile justice system and placed in an adult facility. Yet I couldn't be around adults at the time. So I'm a kid. I go to prison. I go to this hard prison. I go to a prison that was really, really hard. At the time when I went to prison, I go to was like one of the bloodiest prisons, and and I was 17 years old, and I had to go in that prison and I had to survive. I had to utilize all the skills that all of the violent skills that I had gained from the streets of the Cook Road, the streets of Shreveport, Louisiana, and I had to employ those skills to survive, so that I can return whole and not have. You hardly see that happening to a white kid in Shreveport. When I was in the parish jail, they had 4 white guys in Bossier City killed a black dude. They was playing a game, something Demons and Dragons.
Okay.
The police knew that these guys was gonna kill this black guy, and they allowed it to happen.
Okay, hold that. Caller, good evening. You're live on air. What's your name and what state are you calling from tonight?
Tammy Baker, Ohio. How you doing?
I'm good, Miss Baker. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I wanted to know if he could discuss about his book, and I need to hear that title again so I can write it down. And you know, like where could we get the book from? Because it's, you know, discuss his book, and then I'm gonna hang up so he can do that. I would like to know, you know, about his book. What he can explain.
Okay.
And yeah, and the name of it. I need to write it down.
I appreciate you. Okay.
I was going to say, okay, I'm going to hang up so he can, you know, discuss that.
Yes,
or you want me to hold on?
No, you can hang up and let the next call come in, but he's going to discuss it. I promise you.
The name of the book is
okay. I didn't know.
No, he's going to do it now.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. All right.
The name of the book is In No Sense. It's a play on innocence. The book is about how, in no sense, does it take for a person to kill someone, because we stop using our senses when we commit that crime. At times, most of the times, it's like you just stop thinking and you just do it. So in no sense is me explaining my life, me explaining what led to me doing what I did, and what all the opportunities that I had to not to do what I did. In no sense, it's about coming from a good family, and how, you know, the stats say that poor kids commit crimes. I'm not saying I wasn't poor. I'm not saying I was poor. I'm saying that I came from an impoverished community. Yet that impoverished community gave me all the life skills that I needed to survive in this world. Actually, the Cook Road made me overly qualified to survive in this world because of the hardships that we go through, because of the love that we have for one another, and because of everything. The Cook Road supplied me to be the president if I wanted to be the president of the United States. But the Cook Road didn't do anything wrong to me, like portrayals of. I mean, the city of Shreveport it didn't do anything wrong to me. So I'm saying, in no sense. I mean, I made mistakes before prison, and one of those mistakes led me to going to the Radical House. And in the Radical House, it provided me with skills not to be a recidivist. Yet, well, it was me and another guy. This other guy's name was Lil J, and he was when I went, he had the Radical House on lock, and people were eating out his hands. He was a blood, and he and I, we used to go at it from society. So when I went, I automatically thought that we was gonna clash. I thought that the streets was gonna follow me into this place, and we was gonna get into it. But he had navigated himself and placed himself in such a great position with staff and with the prisoners, which you wouldn't really consider the Radical House guys to be prisoners, but actually you're incarcerated because you're in the house. But Lil J, he had such a great character and personality that everyone kind of like loved him now. So when I went, it was like, we talked, and he was like, bro, what's going on the street? What went on the streets, bro? We're gonna just leave it there. He was like, man, I'm finna get ready to go home. And my mindset didn't change. So that led to him and I placing our enemy ties to the side, and we became really, really great friends. Lil J was what you would call one of the guys that you knew he was gonna succeed once he was released. So he went home. And a few months after he was released, he was killed. And it affected everyone at the Radical House. So they was looking at me because I had became who he was, and I had this big personality, this good character, And so the people in the Radical House took to me like they took to Lil J. And so when he died, they rallied around me, and they offered way more support than anybody could wish for or hope for. And they didn't want me to end up like Lil J. So I got out and I died. I was killed. But my death was a living death. I went to prison. So the two most likely to succeed actually died. Yet I give a lot of credit to the Radical House because they prepare guys at that time. I can't speak about the administration now. At that time, they provided you with life skills to return to society and to succeed. Now, neither one of us succeeded. So in no sense, speaks about that. Speaks about the trials and tribulations of is doing things to survive in the streets. And
now, okay. When does your book come out? It's not out yet, right?
No.
When does it come out?
I would say it'll be out. It'll be out Monday for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be out Monday for sure. We're looking for, the COVID got things so crazy. So we're looking for a place to do a book signing.
Okay.
So I would say Monday we will have it, but it'll be on Amazon. It'll be on Amazon. If not tomorrow, Saturday, it'll be on Amazon. Where you can go on Amazon and Kindle and everything and get it. And we'll hit stores Monday, Tuesday. We'll hit stores.
Okay. Brother, listen. I think you're amazing. I think you're wonderful. You have a very, very touching story. But what I like is that you're not making any excuses for what went wrong.
Yes.
And I applaud you for that. So that night of that day when it went bad, what happened? Where was it at? And I mean, how did you wind up pulling the trigger?
We was at the Shebu, the Q Dog, threw a party that night. 16. I shouldn't even have been in that party. Yet I was in the party. So after the party, me and the guy had a fight. And after the fight, gunshot went off. Unfortunately, he was unfortunately for me losing control of my anger and not thinking things through. And it was me that, pulled that trigger that night. And the guy that I had to fight with, he survived. And the innocent guy, a guy that had nothing to do with anything, lost his life. And, it was me not thinking. It was me giving into my anger. And, it's a scary thing to see that if everybody was to handle the anger the way that I did, man, nobody would be living. But it took me going to prison to see that. It took me to mature to see that, man, you can't just give in to your anger.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what happened.
So you did all of your time at Angola?
Every day at Angola. My only time coming out the gates of Angola, the first time I came out the gates of Angola was 2009 when my mom passed. The second time I came out the gates was 2013 when the case was overturned to give me a chance to regain my freedom. And then I came back out a couple of times after 2013. And then I was freed in this year, 2020, July 2020.
Okay. And when you first arrived at Angola, what was your state of mind then?
My state of mind was to put it down, to earn respect, to let them know that Terrance Winn from the Cooper Road is going to be Terrance Winn from the Cooper Road, and not Tanisha from the Cooper Road or whatever girl name that they would have for you.
Gotcha.
So my thing was to get off the bus and whatever get in front of me, lay them down and not be laid down. If you lay me down, you're killing me. And I'm going to be a man. You ain't going to kill me as a girl. No, that was the mindset. Because that's what was going on at the time I went there. So when I first got there, my first 3 days there, I did what I had to do. And right after that, I did what I had to do. And a few months after that, I did what I had to do. I did enough of what I had to do until they understood that this 17-year-old kid gonna be a man in this prison. And from that, I just started studying. I started learning. I became so engrossed with learning about Blacks beyond the shores of America, learning about Blacks, how we started civilization in Africa, how we learned how to just survive, how we learned how to survive, from the animals, the birds and the bees, coming up, you hear stories about what's up with the birds and the bees. And, when you study the history and you really, really learn that we actually learned.
Right.
It ain't a sexual thing. We learned how to create civilizations through ants and everything. It's like, it's amazing. It's just, education broadened me so much that it just made me who I am today. And I just constantly learn. And it's just, that was the most beautifulest thing that I could do. I went through the violent thing, but I had to.
When you went to Angola, you were given a life sentence. So you knew you weren't coming out, right?
No, I never knew that. I went into Angola. I'll never forget my homegirls, Sydney, that just called, and her sister, Shonda.
Okay.
We was talking. That's the first people I called when I made it to Angola. Second. I called my mom and my aunts when I made it. So I talked to Sydney now after I got off that phone with my mom and them. And they asked me, man, how long you think you're going to do? I said, I'm going to do about 7 years. I said, I'll be home about 7. So I never once thought that I would not walk the streets free again, because I knew and injustice had been served to me. I knew
Okay.
that I was more like a political person, and because right before I caught my crime, committed this crime, Tammy Vertigo had killed a brother in Cedar Grove and started the Cedar Grove Rise. A
Okay.
week before she did it, a week before she did it, this white guy killed a brother at the Hot Biscuit. Then she killed it, so black people had got fed up. So we had the Cedar Grove Rise. 3 days of black people standing up for justice. And so it was a political milestone. They was just calling for anything. Anything happened, they was just really calling. I just happened to be a young black guy from the Cooper 16 years old. They tried as an adult, and they made an example of me. So I started learning law while I was there, because law put me in there, so I knew law would get me home. So I started learning the law. And as I learned the law, my eyes opened more and more, and I started seeing more and more wrongs that they had committed in my crime, constitutional violations, which said that my case was supposed to be overturned. So I understood that I wouldn't die in prison. I just prayed that I kept my good health. I just knew that I wouldn't die in prison. And by the grace of Allah, I was able to walk out of prison.
So, and how did that happen?
All right. In 2012, a case called Miller versus Alabama was decided on by the United States Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
Miller was a juvenile when he committed a crime in Alabama, and they gave him life. So the courts took his case and said, "No, we can't give a juvenile, a kid, life or automatic life sentence. That's too harsh. We can't do it." So they overturned the case and said, "You can't give him a life sentence. It's unconstitutional." But when you go back a little further and trace the whole run of it, Atkins versus Virginia was the very first case. Atkins was a mentally retarded guy that was on death row in Virginia. So the courts first decided to say that you can't execute a mentally disabled person. After Atkins was decided, the case of Roper was decided. Roper was a juvenile that was on death row. So the lawyer said, well, if you can't kill a mentally disabled person, a kid has the same brain capacity as that person. So you can't kill a kid neither. So after Roper was decided, they came with Graham. Graham was a juvenile that committed her own robbery. So the court said, we can't give a person, a juvenile life sentence. He didn't kill anyone. Then under the same thought process, we came with Miller. And Miller came and turned cases over. And that's what led us to where I'm at today. But Miller opened the doors in Montgomery sealed the deal. When Montgomery made Miller retroactive, which means that you got to reach back and give everybody the same sentence, the same play with Miller that you would moving forward. Because at first they was trying to say, no, it isn't retroactive. But Montgomery came and made it be retroactive. So everybody that was sentenced as a juvenile is to reap the benefits of Miller. So
during your time in prison, you didn't just lay there. You had to be constantly thinking about, and I think you already said it, going home, getting out.
Yes.
You knew it was a life sentence, but you knew, well, that's what was said, but that's not going to happen.
Yes. My mom, the hardest thing about me being free today is not having my mother here. My mom passed in 2009. My mom passed knowing that her son would walk free again. So I lost my mom and father while I was in prison. And I got a cousin named Shaterica Isaac. When I was home, she was a baby. I got her to start walking and everything. I went to prison as she first started walking, and she loved me more than the cousins. Like she loved me like I'm her father. And every step of the way, she was there for me while I was in prison. My cousin is a real strong, devoutly Christian woman. She's very humble. She believes with all her heart and soul in God. She loves Jesus. She wrote to Jesus last year. She wrote to God. She said, "Dear God, I pray that you please release Terrance Winn from prison in 2020. In Jesus' name. I'm free." You know what I'm saying? I'm free. My auntie, Letty Miles, whom attends Lake Bethlehem Baptist Church, has been praying for me and had that church praying for me for 30 years. 30 years, that church has prayed for me. And 30 years, I mean, people that probably had never laid eyes on me, they prayed for me faithfully. Even today, they pray for me. Man, the power of prayer is real. We hear it all the time. I'm a living testament of that. My aunt Letty Miles, man, she's always prayed. My brother Jarvis Winn, he's always prayed for me. No, he went to a different church, and he's always had people praying for me. Mm-hmm. So I've always had God in the midst of me, and I've always believed. I've always humbled myself. I mean, I put aside the street stuff a long time ago in prison. So when I was on my street run, I wasn't eloquent in speaking. I was on the streets. I was in that mindset where anything come, I'm gonna entertain it. And I'm gonna try to come off with my last name intact, win. I'm trying to win everything. So when I let that go, God helped me let that go. You know, I dedicated my life to God. I'm not saying that I became a holy roller. I'm not saying that I did everything right, because if you look at my parole hearing, I did a lot of things wrong. I'm one of the guys that did a lot of wrong in prison. I got my write-ups would testify to that. Yet I believe, you know, I've always prayed, and I come from a praying family, a family that prayed for me for 30 years. And man, I thank God every day for my family. I've had the best supporting system, I think, in the world. I come home, you know, and this is not nothing to brag about or anything. This is just a fact of what happened to me coming home from 30 years of prison. When I walked out the gate, my family was out the gate. My cousin Shay ran to me. My brother, 40 years old when I walked out of prison. My brother was a baby when I went in prison. That's a man I did 30 years. My brother was 11 years old when I went to prison. He was 40 years old when I walked out of prison. Tears came out his eyes as he came to hug me. My cousin Shay hugged me and cried. My cousin Sheila hugged me and cried. My aunt Berwin hugged me and cried. Letty Miles hugged me and cried. My little baby cousins, bro, yeah, all of them hugged me and cried. So we prayed. We prayed right there in front of the prison. Well, one time I used to see that it's such a sucker move. But now, you know, I know God is so real that I can't see it like that. And man, you know, I'm speaking on the support, man. You know, I walked out and my family gave me a key, my own keys to my own Porsche, my own keys to my own BMW. They finna give me my own keys to my house. And they told me this, man, we believe in you. God got you. You know, that was on the shirt. God did this. That was on the shirts that they wore when they came and got me. So they said, and whatever you do, we support you. We supported you, and we know that you can do right. And so I'm never going to let them down. Again, let them
I
down.
know you can't see the comments now from where you at, but when it's over, when you come back and read the comments, I promise you, you're going to be overly blessed with what the people are saying about you. They're with you 100%. Tammy Always Fake says, I'm learning a lot right now just listening to you. And so am I. And so am I. Brother, prayer does change things. You're absolutely right about that. And I'm glad you're home. I know you've been busy. You got some places that you've been visiting, and you're going to be speaking this place and that place. So what's next? I mean, I know you and I talked about me going with you sometimes when you go out to your speeches or whatever. So let the people know what's next, brother.
We have an event at Ford Park that's coming up on October 10th. It's called a Day of Peace. What we're trying to do is to bring ex-cons and the streets together with the public. And we just want to have a day of peace. We just want to bring everybody together, everybody eat, barbecue, bring your kids, bring your women, and let everybody just kind of mingle. Let everybody just stop being segregated by our different neighborhoods. Stop being segregated by the different pigmentations of our blackness or our whiteness, because this is for everybody, our Mexicans, all. We just want people to be people, and people to just be genuine with one another. What we're going to also be doing on that day, we're going to be registering people to vote, because the election is very, very important. So we want to get the right people in positions to govern us, so we can make things right within our city and the country, because we need a new leader in that position.
Exactly.
And we need new people in positions within the city of Shreveport to further us, to bring us, to put us back on course that we need to be, to bring prosperity to our city. So we got that coming up October 10th. October 23rd, we have a play, From Prison to Success. It's going to be at the Lake Bethlehem Baptist Church. And it's going to be me and a couple other guys whom are a part of Pipes. Pipes is our organization to help Shreveport heal itself.
Okay.
And to help guys that's coming from prison reintegrate themselves in prison. PIPE stands for Priorities, Intentions, and Practical Exchanges. So we're trying to do great things through PIPE, which is a nonprofit organization that I'm the president of. So we're going to do all that's going to be for October. The play and the park event, and we're going to try to have entertainment at the park also. I mean, we're asking people to come out. You don't have to bring anything. We're going to feed. We're going to get you. You're going to eat some good barbecue. You're going to eat some good potato salad. You know how we do in Shreveport.
Okay.
We're going to do the thing. And also, I want to say this for everybody that's listening. Saturday, a woman went into the hospital. Her name was Marie Roman. She's a 26-year-old mother of a 6-year-old daughter, a handicapped daughter. She went into the hospital. She had lupus. She didn't make it out the hospital. She died on Sunday. No one knows the cause of death because the hospital won't release the information to the family. But she died without having any insurance. So we're asking that you please, the family needs $3,000 to bury her. They only have $3,000. It's $6,000 and some dollars to bury her. They was able to come up with $3,000. But we're asking that people please donate to help bury this woman, because she's leaving behind a 6-year-old handicapped daughter. Her mother and dad is already dead. So this little girl is going to be by herself. But she would like to see her mother buried. Like I said, her name is Marie Roman. And if anybody would like to help, you could donate directly through me. I'm not gonna play games with anybody's money. My cash app is Street EDU. The S is capitalized and the E is capitalized. Again, that's Street EDU, and you can put on there for Marie Rome. We're just trying to come up with $3,000, so any and all donations would be really, really helpful and really, really appreciated by this family. So after we do these, once again, Marie Rome, $ Street EDU. This is for her burial. If anybody is willing to help, we would appreciate it.
Okay, we're gonna, if you would get me that link, I'm gonna share it on our YouTube channel and also our Facebook page as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But we'd like for the public to also please come to Ford Park on October the 10th. Just come out, man, and it's a day of peace. We just want to start doing things better in our city. We want life to be good here again. We want to be able to have fun again. The COVID has us down. We got some crime add on to it because people been scared to come outside because of COVID. Now they're scared to come outside because of bullets. So we want this day to be a day of peace, man. And we want y'all who anybody that was on parole that's no longer on parole, you can now vote. You don't have to wait. So we want you to, please come out and register to vote because we really, really need those votes. Every vote actually counts because when you don't vote, look at what the government does. Look at the governorship we get.
Exactly.
So put who we want in.
Right. I need your help before we go off air, please.
Yes,
I know you've been studying Shreveport. You've been studying the statistics of violent crimes, the shooting, and the homicides and stuff. And it says out of hand, it's an understatement.
Yeah.
For 2 minutes or so, I just need you to speak to the brothers and the sisters who does not value their own life because they don't value someone else's life. And I just need you to speak to them. Whatever you can say to them right now, please.
Man, I know you're living your life. I know that the streets has its own language. I once spoke that language. Man, life is valuable, man. Our communities are valuable. We represent our communities, yet we make the value of our property go down when we commit crimes. So how can we represent it and then we heard it? We heard about committing these crimes. So I think that we got to kind of like realize most of us we'll tattoo our neighborhoods in our skin because we love it. Mm-hmm. But when you love something, you don't destroy it. That's love. So we got to start trying to love your brother. Stop being so angry with your brother that you got to kill him. Sometimes fight him. Sometimes overlook it. Away from some things. I mean, prison isn't a fun place to be. You go to prison, man, when you get a life sentence, people are going to leave you. The people that you think loyal to you right now, they're going to leave you. And this isn't a scare tactic. This is the reality that I just lived for 30 years. I was fortunate to have a family I have, to have friends that I had, but everybody doesn't have that. I just left from seeing guys who was doing so well in society, can't even afford a bag of chips because people are going to leave you when you're in prison. It's designed to leave you. It's designed for people not to stand beside you. So when you taking a person's life or whatever you're doing, you're looking at walking down that road and not having no one. But man, it's about loving that next man. You can walk away from things. Some things aren't really. Killing doesn't be justified in some things. Some things you be like, man, you killed them for that. And you'll go to jail and say like, man, I shouldn't even much killed homeboy, man. This time so hard. Man, I shouldn't even much did that. So sometimes you gotta just think about it, man. Think about your family. Think about the next man's family. Just empathy. Placing yourself in somebody's shoes. I mean, if you're killing for whatever reason, could you stop and say, would I want to die for this reason? Do I want to die for this reason? That's empathy. And you gotta have an empathetic heart. You gotta have compassion. I mean, some things are unavoidable. That's understandable. Some things are very avoidable, man. some of these crimes that's being committed on our streets are avoidable, man. To see a 17-year-old kid that had so much promise die, that was avoidable. To see a 20-year-old beautiful girl die, that was avoidable. To see a 2-year-old kid fighting for his life, that was avoidable. We could actually walk away from those situations. You know what I'm saying? And we can live, like they say, I live to fight another day. Like I say, I understand some things are unavoidable, but some most likely are avoidable, man. So we gotta like just give thought to what we're doing. We gotta like just give love to who we are. Man, we done been through so much. Man, we've suffered. We've suffered unlike any other race outside the Indians in this country. And the Indians doesn't slaughter each other like we do. The white people gave the Indians the drink. They'll drink and get drunk all day long. And they'll fight. And they come from different tribes. So when you study the history, they was killing each other. That's why they lost their land. But they're not continuing doing what they're doing. We came from different tribes in Africa. When we came to America, we became one tribe. They made us slaves because we didn't bond together. Sometimes we gotta band together, man. We fighting a hell of a cause on all fronts, not just this violent front. We fighting health issues. We fighting poverty. Man, we fight everything. Everything is aimed at us as Black people. We can't continue to add to our own problems, man. We can't continue to make our families suffer. You know, I just asked for money for a woman who died of natural causes. But look at the people that's dying violently that doesn't have insurance. Man, we Black. We got to love one another, man. We got to stop hating and hurting one another. They don't nobody care for us like we got to care for each other, man. It's a sad thing when you see people outside our race care for us more than we do. You know, so we got to care. And we always run into the white people for solutions to a Black problem. How can you ask a white man that's the chief of police to help you with your problem? His job is to arrest you.
Come on.
To save you. And he doesn't feel what you feel. He has never been Black. So he don't know your problem. He don't know your struggle. So how can you always turn to him? You can't turn to him. He isn't your Messiah. He isn't your Savior. And he isn't there to solve your problem. We are here to solve one another's problem. So, man, we got to turn to one another. And we got to say, look, man, I got a problem with you, man. And I actually want to put this gun on you, man. But I'm not, because I understand our problems are bigger than me killing you. It's the same problem going to be there afterwards. So, man, I'm going to put this gun down, and I'm not going to kill you today. I'm not going to kill you tomorrow. But, man, you need to get yourself together. You need to get your perspectives together, or somebody else going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be the initiators of change for ourselves. We got to be the initiators of stopping the violence against one another. Because don't no white person care about whether or not you live or die. I ain't gonna say don't no white person. The people that's in positions of authority, do you think that they actually care that you kill one another? Man, that's another dead person dead and one I'm finna take to jail. So that's 2 dead Black people that I got rid of. I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. That's what that actually means. So stop actually thinking that they care for you, man. Like the day we was down there for the federal guy speaking. He wasn't there to tell you, I'm finna help with the Black problem. He was telling you, I'm finna help send your Black ass to jail.
Come on, man. Come on. Come on.
I don't want to see you. You know what I'm saying? The 13th Amendment say you're a slave. So I'm finna make sure you go back to slavery, man. So stop thinking that them people trying to help us, man. We gotta help us. I gotta help my neighbor. You know what I'm saying? I can't look for that man outside of my neighborhood to help me. You know, we got so much division with us that it's pathetic. You got, you know, and I'm not really just knocking people because I want black people to have employment. We need employment. Yet I don't want that employment to be to the extent of me being from the Cooper Road, the biggest black neighborhood in America. And we don't have black businesses up there. We got a whole another ethnic group of people whom are capitalizing off us. They own every store in our neighborhood. But ain't none of that money coming back into our neighborhood. They taking that money back to their neighborhood and they're gonna circulate that money in their neighborhood. And you know how many times they're gonna spend that money in their neighborhood before any outside person get that money? 6 to 7 times. We don't much have a way to circulate the money within our own neighborhood because it's no ownership. We would rather spend our money with somebody else before we spend it with one another. But that's me getting off subject. Back to the subject is but that's stand on subject because economically we kill one another. So the crime against us continues. We got to stop committing these crimes against one another because, like I say, economics is the main thing. Because poverty makes you so angry that you don't care who you kill. You don't care who you steal from, who you rob. Man, we got to love one another. That's the biggest key. First, before we get to love, we got to tolerate one another. Once we can tolerate one another, then we can learn to like one another. Once we like one another, we can learn to love one another. Those are the steps that we got to take. Let's be tolerable towards one another. Let's tolerate the next man.
Yeah.
Get it.
That's right. You know what? I am so happy you came on my show tonight. Brother, you speak well. You speak well.
Thank you.
We will put out anything that you're doing, any events that you have going on. All you do is contact me. I promise you we will get it out for you. I really believe that those that come listen to you speak, if they had the mindset that they was going to do what they wanted to do, regardless of what you said, if they hear you speak, they will be moved by your story. You didn't miss the beat tonight. I mean, you did not. I'm wondering where you're really locked up, bro. Because I mean, you own everything. You own it. You didn't miss the beat tonight.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Before we get out of here, they need to know the name of that book.
Okay.
And where they can find it, please.
All right. The name of the book is In No Sense, and real soon I would be dropping the locations of where they would be placed at. I would drop it on my Facebook page, and I would ask you to also drop it for me. I would. So I also have a clothing line called Street Educated. I would like for y'all to support that. Street Educated shirt. Okay. We got a record label. We're doing our first video Saturday on Martin Luther King and in Bossier. We combined in the cities. Okay. We're going from Bossier to Martin Luther King. So anybody that wants to be a part of the video, please feel free to come out. We're gonna have a good time. We just trying to sow seeds of unity, man. We got to get it back to where we was, man. We got to say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud, and we got to win. We got to love it. But the name of the book is In No Sense. Okay. And once again, I ask that you please help the family of Marie, and please help her so that they can bury her next week because she died last Sunday. So we got to wait a week because the Patterson Funeral Home isn't releasing her body until they get their money. So we're trying to raise $3,000 for her. So like I said, you can hit my cash up at $Screet EDU and just put on it for Marie. And that's a blessing, man. We appreciate anything that you can give. You can give $1, 50 cents, whatever. It'll get us closer to the goal of reaching these $3,000 so that this woman can be buried and her daughter could have some type of peace because she's handicapped at 6 years old. But in no sense, we will have it, and we will get everybody the locations, but you will be able to see it on Amazon.
Okay.
Like tomorrow or Saturday.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna put you on blast, so to say. Will you come back on this show?
Yeah, man, anytime you need me, for whatever reason, I'm here. Pipes is here. For the Struggle is here. Street Educated. Everybody, we're here, man. So you got me. I'm loyal to you.
All right. We're with you 100%, brother. I'm out of time. I love you big time. I thank you for what you're doing. Again, whatever you're doing, get it to me, and I'm going to get it out there to.
Thanks, man. I love you too, brother.
All right. Thank you again, brother. Enjoy your evening. As always, thank you all for tuning in to the night broadcast. I'm Al Scott with the Justice Investigation. Remember, I'm not always right, and you are not always wrong. Louise Royal, good evening to you. Terrence,
yes,
doing it, bro, and keep doing your thing.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.